Om. 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 Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. So we got this, the contents. We'll go through this. Are you all able to hear and see the screen share?
Yes.
Somehow okay, I think we've got this. Okay, good. I thought we had to go through the contents. We'll go through that later once we finish this. So, yesterday we're still on Shraddhavan Labhate Jnanam, Tatpara Samyatendriyaha, Jnanam Labdhva Param Shantim, Achirenadhigacchati. So, we saw the three requirements a student should have. One is Shraddha in the Shastra and in the Guru. Then Tatparaha, that being committed to the path. And it's not just a lukewarm commitment. So if one has Shraddha, one may not have commitment. One may have both Shraddha and commitment. One may not be a Samyatendriyaha. One may not master one's sense organs. So all the three combinations are required. So mastery over sense organs. Both Shraddha and commitment may be there, but the person may still not make it. Why? Because his or her mind is not together with reference to the senses and their pursuits. Dissipation and distraction, therefore, stand in a person's way of gaining the knowledge. Therefore, one more requirement is given here Samyatendriya, one whose sense organs, meaning sense pursuits, are under control. This means that you do not propitiate your fancies, that you are not controlled by fancies. If you always go by your fancies, You will find no time for anything, even for something you have a great love for. Samyatendriya here means one whose mind is steady. When such a person also has Shraddha in the Shastra and is committed to moksha, he or she will definitely gain the knowledge. Relative Shanti and absolute Shanti. What happens when this knowledge is gained? The person who gains this knowledge immediately gains absolute peace. Param Shantim Achirena Adhigachati. This Shanti is not the kind of peace or truce that exists between two bouts of conflict. It is the peace that is one's essential nature. So it is not the kind of peace that exists between two bouts of conflict. It is not the mind being in steady state. It's not just the mind being in equilibrium. That's only a state of mind. Any situation, any event, anything can topple this mind over. But it is the peace that is one's essential nature. So this you cannot budge from. Peace is usually understood to be a state of mind as opposed to agitation, which is also a state of the mind. You generally take yourself to be silent when actually the mind is silent. And therefore you think the self is agitated when actually it is the mind that is agitated. But the peace referred to here is not a state of mind. It is rather the nature of the self, which is always silent, shanta, regardless of the state of mind. A shanti for which one does not depend upon the condition of the mind is called para. Para shanti does not call for a non-thinking mind because it is not opposed to thinking. So a jivan mukta can still continue to think because the mind is functioning at the mind level. But he is para because that shanti that he has is not dependent upon the condition of the mind. We see here then two types of shanti. One is the shanti or tranquility that is gained through yoga. By karma yoga, one can gain a certain tranquility that is purely a condition of the mind. Being a condition of the mind, this shanti is subject to change. This type of shanti is also a necessity and is indicated by samyatendriyatva, mastery of the sense organs. Just give me a second. So the both types of shantis are required. One, this relative shanti is also a necessity. So this type of shanti is also a necessity and is indicated by samyatendriyatva, mastery of the sense organs. A person who enjoys the Shanti gained by Karma Yoga gains another Shanti too, the absolute Shanti through knowledge. This is what we call, this is what is called Parashanti. In spite of what the mind thinks, the person knows, I am Shanta, meaning that at the level of I, there is freedom. Freedom from Ashanti, because the person recognizes that Atma is always Shanta. This recognition gives rise to Parashanti. The peace discussed in this verse is your very nature, Swarupa Bhuta Shanti. And in the wake of knowledge, it is gained immediately. Nachirena, not after a time. The person gains the Shanti, which is moksha, because of the knowledge of the self, that is Shanta. And what is the distance in terms of time between knowledge and moksha? There is no difference between them, because knowledge is the means and moksha is the end. Just as there is no distance, no interval of time between eating food and appeasing hunger. In the wake of one, the other takes place. In the wake of knowledge, there is liberation. This then is the meaning of the words achirena, na chirena, immediately. In his commentary of this verse, Shankara clarifies the order involved in gaining this knowledge. First, there is Shraddha in the Shastra as a means of knowledge. Then, as a result of this Shraddha, a commitment arises that causes a person to give up everything and pursue the knowledge by approaching a teacher with the proper attitude. One who approaches the Guru has both Shraddha in the Shastra as the means of knowledge and commitment to the knowledge. In addition, the person must also have the sense organs under control. These three factors being there, the knowledge will definitely be gained. So, outward expression is not enough. Shankara also comments here on the three aspects of outward expressions of Shraddha towards the teacher that we saw in verse 34 of this chapter. Pranipata, prostration, pariprashna, proper questioning, and seva, service. Because these are eternal, they can be exhibited even without sufficient Shraddha. You can always put on an act. Sorry, because these are external, not eternal. That's my mistake. Yeah. Because these are external, they can be exhibited even without sufficient Shraddha. You can always put on an act. Just because you're smiling does not mean there is a smile inside. You may be crying at that time, but as soon as someone approaches you, you can wash your face quickly and smilingly say, "Hello, how are you?" In the same way, prostrating to the teacher, asking questions, and even the service. 1 minute, huh? Your bat is inside. I kept your bat inside, not in your hand. Get that. I took it out from here. Where you kept it? Inside, Nentesta. Second. Oh, no, I have already. Just reconfirm whether it's there. So, in the same way, prostrating to the teacher, asking questions, and even the service you perform to the teacher may be nothing more than an act. Therefore, Shankara says that outward expression is not a guarantee for knowledge because it can be false. Therefore, without Shraddha, the prostration, questioning, and service are not enough. Only when Shraddha is there does one's outward expression become a means for gaining the knowledge. So it boils down to Shraddha being the first and foremost qualification. Because everything else, the pranipata, pariprashna, guru seva, can all be only an external, is an external expression. It may be sincere, but there is no way, no guarantee that it is authentic.
फक्त याला उचलून सकोते मधलं मध्येच राहू द्यायचं त्यांना फक्त पुढे करायचं बाकी आपल्या जागेवर राहते ते.
Therefore, without Shraddha, the prostration, questioning, and service are not enough. Only when Shraddha is there does one's outward expression become a means for gaining the knowledge. Thus, in this verse, Krishna presents the positive aspect of Shraddha by telling Arjuna that a Shraddhavan gains. In the next verse, he presents the negative aspect by stating what happens to one who does not have Shraddha. So shall we do Manana before going to the next verse? Let me know if you need some repetition. We did this absolute relative Shanti. So what is Shraddha again?
Guru Vedanta Vakyeshu Vishwasah.
Vishwasa. Very right. So you are willing to go with that Shastra, pending inquiry. And what is the result is that what you believed, what you had faith in becomes a reality. So since Shraddha is such an important thing, we'll say, this verse points out the means by which this knowledge is gained without fail. Knowledge will definitely take place when the appropriate means is present. And what is that means because of which one will definitely gain the knowledge? First, one must have Shraddha, faith in the Shastra and in the words of the teacher. Gaining the knowledge is dependent upon this Shraddha, because of which the Shastra is looked upon as a pramana, a means of knowledge. Not any other means of knowledge. Shastra is the means of knowledge. Without Shraddha in the Shastra, one cannot look upon it as a pramana. Otherwise, we'll only be reaching out to it for curiosity. Just like Swamiji talked about earlier, armchair Vedantin. Just want to collect some terms and some definitions and some concepts. But having Shraddha, pramana means that which is instrumental in gaining prama, knowledge, and should not create doubts. So getting that ascertained knowledge, prama, whatever gives us that ascertained knowledge is pramana. Any doubt has to be converted into prama, ascertained knowledge. The motivation to inquire further in order to convert a doubt or contradiction into prama, which is non-contradictory, is created by the attitude called Shraddha. Therefore, to gain the knowledge, Shastra must be looked upon as a means of knowledge. Only then can it deliver the goods. So basically, what is it? We have doubts because we are all work in progress. So there will be doubts. So when we have doubts, who do we go to? We go to the Shastra, we go to the Guru.
See, but every
Words of
one
the
of us,
Shastra and
Jai
words of the
Gurute,
Guru. Yeah.
we have started, on this path with that curiosity or with the open mind that we might get an answer over here, right?
Right.
But on this path, as we go further, that becomes what you call uh, the faith. I can't say faith because I'm not sure I have total faith in this. I totally open mind. I have no uh, fixed. I have not fixed it yet, but that open mind is still there. Yes, there is a possibility. There is a possibility, but complete faith, as per se, I doubt if it is there. So, is this a way everyone goes through, or they will have Shraddha and then they are on this path? We are assured that we will get something after doing this. That's how the Shraddha starts building up. And then when the pramana and whatever we are getting the experiences, the faith deepens. And our journey continue. What I think like this.
See, what is the Shraddha? Shraddha is faith in the unknown, right? You've not seen, you've not known it, but you've been told, hey, this is it. That faith in the unknown, like in the very beginning, Swamiji had given the example of the knitted wool, the piece of wool that was knitted by the great grandmother, and it is being handed down through the generations. And the grandmother gives it to her daughter, and the daughter tells her child, see, this is what your grandmother gave, and it was handed down. Now, this child has not seen the great grandmother actually do the knitting, but what is there? There is that faith in the words of the mother. Yes, this has been handed down by my grandmother to my mother. So that faith, you don't know, but you are willing to go that path, willing to accept it. Same thing with mother. How do you know your mother is your actual mother, biological mother? You can question. There are people also who question, how do I know you're my actual mother? Of course, now scientifically we can prove doing the DNA testing and all that. But originally, that's that faith. So faith in the unknown, what you've not seen yet, are you willing to go along? Again, the same thing is the example of that person who's had eye surgery. If he tells the surgeon, prove to me that I.
You're muted, I think.
Is he going to gain anything? He has to have faith in the words of the surgeon. Says, okay, let me, I have faith in the surgeon. I have trust in him. Let me open my eyes. Only when he opens his eyes. So similarly, only when we approach the Shastra and the Guru, which is the Pramana, all our doubts we have, correct. You're coming here with an open mind. But an open mind which believes, we are not, see, in the beginning there were Nastikas and Astikas, no? Nastikas are those that do not believe in the words of the Veda, Buddhists and Jains. But we believe in the words of the Veda. We are Astikas. So to begin with, that thing has to be there, that one step. Because we cannot be sitting and questioning the very Veda. Then we'll go nowhere. So that one step. Now, regarding lifetimes, regarding Purva Janma and, Janma that will come in the samsara cycle, we need to believe in that. Otherwise, where is the karma philosophy? Where is the Sanchita, Agami and Prarabdha karma philosophy? But do we know? Have we proof that we have Sanchita, we have a bank balance of karma? We don't know, but we are willing to take it for granted. It is there. Similarly, Shastra says Tattvamasi. You take it for granted, but where is the big doubt? The doubt is because, and it is not ascertained knowledge yet, because you still feel limited, you still feel small, we still feel dejected, go through all the emotions. So how can I, the small natured person, be the absolute self? That's a doubt. So that doubt gets converted into a certain knowledge, Prama, using with the Shraddha. The first step is to have Shraddha in the words of the Vedanta, Shastra. Otherwise, in the beginning itself, we'll cut it off. It's like Gurudev says, tearing off your application. If you say, I can't, when we have self-doubt, you're tearing up your application. Oh, this knowledge is not for me. I'm not able to get this. So when these, again, three kinds of doubts that arise in the self, in the master, in the technique, or even the Shastra, so can crop up time and again. But how do we keep these doubts at bay? When our energy rises, doubts dissolve. So therefore, we have all the sadhana tools. So we keep that Shraddha flame flying high, burning high, along with which you have commitment. Along with that, we have a mastery over our sense organs. So that we don't accumulate more and more stress, more and more vasanas. Enough, we've had enough vasanas over the lifetime. So now is the time for us to neutralize all those. And how can we do that? Unless we live a life of tapas, live a life of shama, dama, uparama, titiksha. And with viveka and vairagya, we deal with the world.
Can you read these two last paragraphs? First one must have Shraddha.
Yeah,
From
first one must have Shraddha, faith in the Shastra and in the words of the teacher. Gaining the knowledge is dependent upon this Shraddha, because of which the Shastra is looked upon as a pramana, a means of
if
knowledge.
suppose there is no Shraddha here, doubt is there, but he continues on this path, means he wants to read that Shastra, or so the pramana, after he get the pramana, uh, he will have a deeper, means Shraddha, more Shraddha, means more and less is not there, but the Shraddha will will become a stable. There will not be doubts creeping up. What I feel like this, because before reading to Shastras, I was not very aware of, means that Shraddha I didn't had, but I started reading Bhagavad Gita, means like that my journey started. So whenever I am getting answers to my questions or doubts, then my journey into the Bhagavad Gita is deepening, like that.
Yeah, it is. See, but to begin with, even to come to the Shastra, it is because of Shraddha only that you come to the Shastra. But again, people, there may be two types of people. One just come because curiosity. Yeah. See, we see that even in our courses, no?
Mm.
There are people who come. They just want to know, curious to know what is this and how long do they last. The commitment isn't there.
Then no.
They don't follow their daily home kriya. They don't come for follow-ups.
Mm.
They fizzle out. But then there are some who are committed, stay on the path and evolve further. So can we say the first category of people who fizzle out don't have Shraddha? They had that Shraddha enough to give them that curiosity to get that experience. But they did not follow through because lack of commitment and lack of that mastery over sense organs. They had other priorities in their lives. So this 20 minutes also they cannot cater to in their lives. Because why? The mind is preoccupied. So many distractions. Oh, this party is important. This gathering is important. I cannot come for follow-ups. I cannot do this. So you see how the mind gets carried away. But on the other hand, another person who says, no, I will do this. Sadhana is important. So where is that? The difference is in the degree of the Shraddha that one has. And along with that is the commitment and samyatendriya.
An attitude too. Mm.
And an attitude also.
Mhm.
There are some, my aunt is one. I mean, she does a kriya regularly. She doesn't miss it out. She does a sahaj as well. But is she approaching knowledge? I told her, read the Bhagavad Gita. She says, no, I don't have any interest in knowledge in Bhagavad Gita. So it's not enough if you're just doing the practices. To be a karma yogi, you have to also pursue knowledge.
And Shastra Krupa is also required. Then
Mm.
otherwise you will not have that liking also for the
Yeah,
scriptures.
yeah. I'm an example myself. It took me 10 long years. Gurudev has been saying, read every day one shloka of the Gita. He said this several years ago. We did start a little bit, but it was not like, with full commitment. 4 years back during COVID is when all this began, and then with Krishna's grace, with Gurudev's grace, it is carrying on. There are so many times people have said, even I myself felt, oh, I'm, maybe I'm not taking care of my health, my sleep. Lots of times it happened. But somehow I can't explain why and how, but it's just continuing. I said, no, I'll tweak my sleep timings. I'll sleep early rather than sleep late and then come out of this. And I think that's the same for every one of us over here. We have prioritized this, and that is why we're able to stay put. Again, it is not for us to feel, egoistic about. I will only attribute it to the kripa. That's all. His kripa is taking us forward. And if all of us did not have Shraddha, we would not be here. So, Mrinal, you do have Shraddha. Otherwise, you will not be here every day. Not that people who don't come here every day don't have Shraddha. That's not my intention at all. They, of course, have Shraddha. But what I meant was, we tend to doubt, oh, do I actually have Shraddha? So without Shraddha in the Shastra, one cannot look upon it as a pramana. Pramana means that which is instrumental in gaining prama, knowledge, and should not create doubts. Any doubt has to be converted into prama, ascertained knowledge. The motivation to inquire further in order to convert a doubt or contradiction into prama, which is non-contradictory, is created by the attitude called Shraddha. Take Ramana Maharshi, for example. People who went to him were told, just go question I. Who is this I? That's all he would say. So if they didn't have trust and Shraddha in his words, he would not have so much of following. People just took that, just that one thing, went and contemplated. Same thing with Swami Vivekananda. Till he met Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, he was not satisfied. For me, I have been through, from my childhood, I've been exposed to this. Swami, I was in the Chinmaya mission, our family was in the Chinmaya mission. But it was not until I did the Sudarshan Kriya that I felt I reached home. So the connect with Gurudev is what held me on this. And every other, um, lecture or Gita Jnana Yajna, all that was very, very nice. But as long as you're listening to it, it's nice. Again, you come back to square one. But this was the only place where there was a take-home practice that you could do on a daily basis, that cleansing happening on a daily basis. So for me, this is where I find I've reached home. For different people, it could be different. It's not that everybody should follow just one path. All the oceans, all the rivers ultimately lead to the ocean. So there are different rivers. Some people follow only knowledge. For example, Chinmaya Mission, they follow only Jnana Yoga. They don't have so many techniques and yoga and all that included in the way they approach. But that's fine. Okay, we'll not go into that part right now. What I meant to say was, where we feel at home. Actually, Gurudev says the Guru finds you. You don't find the master. The master finds you. Anyway, that's again a mystery. It's like the hen and the egg. It can go on and on. So then commitment to moksha. Shall we go forward? So Shastra is faith in the words of the master, the teacher and the Shastra, and taking it as pramana to convert all our little doubts into ascertained knowledge. See, for example, we've had doubts about Stula Sharira. Where do we go to? Go back to Tattva Bodh, read about it. We had this doubt about what is Karana Sharira. Now all of us are clear about it. So that doubt is removed. So where do we go? We go back to the Shastra. What is Atma? Atma kaha? What is the answer for Atma kaha?
Some Sarvasakshi.
Yeah. Stula Sukshma Karana Sharirat Vyatiriktah Panchakoshatitah Avastatraya Sakshi Yaha Saha Tishtati Sa Atma. Right? So we know there's this definition. Where is this definition coming from? It's coming from the Shastra. And look how pregnant that whole answer is. You can spend days and days just talking about that. Someone like China can spend months talking about this one verse. Stula Sukshma Karana Sharirat Vyatirikta. In just one sentence, one little answer, the whole Vedanta is given, gist of Vedanta. So, going back, when we have a doubt, go back and clear the doubt. So when we keep clearing all these are pratibandhakas. When we clear up all the pratibandhakas, then, and when we have that relative shanti by practice of karma yoga, and of course you're pursuing knowledge, then achirena digachati, knowledge dawns. And for that also we need shraddha, no? When will I get that story of those two people who were meditating? And when God appears, he says, when will I get liberation? After the number of years of whatever the number of leaves are in this tree, after that many years, you will get. That person is very happy. Other person says, oh, I've been meditating for so long. How come it's taking so long? So it is again dependent on the Shraddha. It is said, this is what will happen. And I will have implicit faith in that. I will drop my feverishness about getting it in this lifetime. I will do whatever I can in this lifetime. I will put in my efforts, purushartha, towards moksha. But am I feverish about getting it in this lifetime? That I will drop. But I will be steadfast on the goal, on the path, with Shraddha, Tatpara and Samyatendriyatva. So what does this commitment mean? There is commitment when I recognize that I must have this knowledge, that there is nothing else that is important to me, and that I am prepared to burn all my boats. The person who has this kind of commitment to the knowledge is called Tatpara. Para meaning one who is committed to. Other than knowledge, there is no way to gain this freedom. You do not become free from mortality. You already are immortal. The freedom is only in terms of knowing that you are immortal. It is possible for a person to be tatpara in that person is committed to liberation, but he or she may not have shraddha in the Shastra. Between liberation and the Shastra, there is a relation, a sambandha. One is sadhana, the means, and the other is sadhya, the end. So it is possible. So it is not that people who are committed always have shraddha. So it is possible for a person that the person is committed to liberation, but he or she may not have shraddha in the Shastra. I think all the Nastikas come into this, maybe, right? So between liberation and the Shastra, there is a relation, a sambandha. One is a sadhana, the means, and the other is sadhya, the end. In order to gain liberation, moksha, you go to the Shastra, for which you require shraddha. You need to know that the Shastra is the means of knowledge whereby you will gain the knowledge that is liberation. Shraddha may be there without tatparatva, commitment, and tatparatva may be there without shraddha. If both shraddha and commitment are there, the person looks upon the teaching as a means to freedom, moksha, and also has a love for that freedom. Yeah, so it is not, if someone is listening to knowledge and keen to be on the path, does not necessarily mean he has shraddha. That shraddha is a very fine quality of taking the words of the Guru and the Shastra. And if there are those doubts, again go back and ask questions. That is why pranipata, pariprashna. You're getting relevant doubts, go and ask. Clarify the doubts. Then the knowledge gets clearer and clearer. Then mastery over sense organs. This is what we did today. So samyatendriyatva here means one whose mind is steady. So when such a person also has shraddha in the Shastra and is committed to moksha, he or she will definitely gain the knowledge. Why? Because dissipation and distraction stand in a person's way of gaining the knowledge. Then relative Shanti and absolute Shanti. So outward expression is not enough. It is an inner state of mind, inner Shraddha, Tatvaratva, and Samyatendriyatva. But of all these, Shraddha is the most important. You may have commitment. Look at all the agoras and all of them. They have a lot of commitment to their tapas. They also have Samyatendriyatva. But whether or not they have Shraddha, again, that we are not someone to judge. But there could be people who are doing rigorous tapas and, lot of disciplines. But if they don't have Shraddha in the words of the knowledge, in the words of the Guru or in the Shastra, then this knowledge, self-knowledge is far from them. So now Krishna talks of what happens if one does not have Shraddha. Anyone wants to share, add, before we go to the next verse? Ajñascha Shraddadhanascha Samshayatma Vinashyati Nayam Lokosti na paraha na sukham samshayatmanaha. Agnaha, one who has no discrimination, cha and Ashraddadhanaha, one who has no faith in the Shastra and the teacher, cha and Samshayatma, one who has a doubting mind, Vinashyati, perishes, Samshayatmanaha, for the doubter, Ayam Lokaha, this world, na asti, is not there, na paraha, nor there is the other world, na sukham, nor happiness. So, Agnaha cha Ashradhanaha cha Samshayatma Vinashyati. Samshayatmanaha Ayam Lokaha na asti na paraha na sukham. One who has no discrimination and who has no faith in the Shastra and the teacher, and one who has a doubting mind perishes. Because for the one with a doubting mind, this world is not there, nor the world beyond, nor happiness. Ajna here means aviveki, one who does not have discrimination. Shankara clarifies this point here by saying that Ajna means anatmagna, one who does not know Atma, one who does not have Atma Anatma Viveka, discrimination between the self and non-self. Almost everyone is an anatmagna. If the anatmagna has Shraddha in what the Shastra says, he or she has some hope. Such a person knows what is right and wrong and can follow his or her own dharma by performing the nitya naimittika karmas enjoined by the Shastra. By living in this way, Viveka will eventually be gained and knowledge also. Because of Shraddha, the non-discriminative, ignorant person can become discriminating. And once there is discrimination, Viveka, there will be detachment or objectivity, vairagya, because of which the person will have the desire for liberation, mumukshutva. This desire for liberation will lead to the inquiry whereby the knowledge is gained, and along with it, parashanti. In this way, the person who has Shraddha gains this world as well as the other. The problem comes when the person who is an Ajna is also Ashraddha Dhana. Not only does the person not have discrimination, he or she has no Shraddha either. Such a person cannot even give benefit of the doubt to the Shastra. But disbelief is not based on reason. How can you prove there is no heaven, for example? You can neither prove its existence nor disprove it. How can you conclude something is right or wrong unless you make an inquiry, for which you must have some Shraddha? No inquiry is made if Shraddha is not there. However, people who have no faith in the Shastra may have faith in themselves or in other people. They may also have faith in money or in power. This kind of faith will give these people something at least. If a person has faith in the world, he can gain some happiness and security. The world does offer some sukha to such a person. And for the person who trusts his or her abilities and has faith in the efficacy of the various means and ends available to explore and use, there definitely are opportunities to pick up some sukha. Such a person is deprived of the other world, but he does gain this world. The main problem presented in this verse is doubt, samshaya. One who is a doubter is called samshayatma. The word atma meaning the mind, antakarana. In this context, doubt can exist only in the mind. About the samshayatma, Krishna says, neither this world nor the world beyond, nor happiness is there for the doubter. In his commentary, Shankara explains that both the non-discriminative person and the one who has no shraddha perish, meaning they go from death to death. But such people are not as badly off as the samshayatma who has no shraddha in the Shastra. He or she does not believe in the existence of punya and papa and therefore does not care to follow dharma and is therefore deprived of the world hereafter. The samshayatma cannot gain happiness in this world. Such a person cannot even get married. He or she always asks, will I be able to make a success of it? I doubt it. And even if the person does get married, how long will the marriage last when one is always doubting the other person? Every phone call becomes a matter of doubt, even if it is only a telephone operator on the other end. Like this, the Samshayatma is not only a tragedy to himself, but also to everyone else around. Thus, Krishna says that this world is not there for the doubting person, nor is there the world beyond, nor any happiness here. While knowledge of Atma is not possible without Shraddha, a person who has faith in something other than the Shastra can get something out of life. But the Samshayatma has no trust whatsoever in the scriptures, in other people, or even in himself. Therefore, even this world is not there for the person. Ayam lokaha nasti. This world, that is, whatever one can get from one's life, is also not there for the Samshayatma, unfortunately. Therefore, Krishna says, Yoga Sanyasta Karmanam Jnana Sanchinna Samshayam Atmavantam na karmani Nibadnanti Dhananjaya. O Arjuna, actions do not bind the one who has renounced action through yoga, whose doubts have been completely severed by knowledge, and one who is together. We'll read this one more time tomorrow. But can we just share? We have a few minutes. Let's share what we've understood of this. Samshayatma vinashyati. Nayam lokosti naparaha. Nasukham samshayatmanaha. Unfortunately, doubts
First
will
of all,
crop
that
up.
Atma and Anatma discrimination is not there.
Yeah.
So the doubt will be there, and when doubt is there, means whatever Shraddha they have, they will look at, or they will learn, means understand. So what somewhere we have read now, whatever the our nature is, that much we will get. If you don't have distinction or some preoccupied notions, then that much only we will learn or get.
Yeah, they have. See, there are different categories. One is the best, the one that has the Shraddha and Shastra and the Guru. That is Shraddhavan. The second one is Ajnaha, who is, and Samshayatma, who has, who doubts in the other world, but he has faith in in happiness that comes from money and fame and name and all that. So at least he gets something from this world. He has some faith in his ability, so he gets something from this world. But then, uh, what is that? The last category is the one that does not have faith either in this world nor in the world after. So neither here nor in the other world does he have happiness. And like Swamiji said, he doesn't even get married because he doubts everything. Can I make a, you know, there are people who are very rigid about certain things and they cannot take a step forward because unless that is there, they will not.
That's how
That,
whatever they're thinking is that they will become that.
yeah, yeah. We'll do this verse one more time tomorrow. I just gave a complete reading for us to get an overview, but we'll go in detail tomorrow because we have to look at, apply this to us and see where do we stand and how to fine tune it. So we'll stop here. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishnarpanamastu. Jai Gurudev. You know, the verse that Bela so beautifully sings every day is so relevant to what we are doing right now. Go ahead, Bela, if you're there.
Yeah. एकमेवा द्वितीयं ब्रह्मा निर्गुणं निश्चलं निर्विकारम् एकमेवा द्वितीयं ब्रह्मा अत्र वेदान्तमेव प्रमाणम् बोधक सद्गुरु तत्त्वनिष्ठः ईश्वरानुगृहीतेन वेद्यम् एकमेवाद्वितीयं ये ब्रह्मा ज्ञानगम्यं तुरीयं हृदयस्थम् आत्मरूपं हि तत् येन ज्ञातम् सोऽध्वनः पारमाप्नोति सत्यम् एकमेवाद्वितीयं ये ब्रह्मा ब्रह्मज्ञस्य तु ब्रह्मैव सर्वम् नास्ति मोहो भयं नैव दुःखम् तस्य स्वानन्दमग्नं हि चित्तम् एकमेवाद्वितीयं ये ब्रह्मा निर्गुणं निश्चलं निर्विकारम् एकमेवाद्वितीयं ये ब्रह्मा एकमेवाद्वितीयं ये ब्रह्मा ब्रह्मैव सत्यम्
Jai Gurudev. Welcome back, Dr. Mara. Good to see you.